Zeimet Show. Discovering you. Rewiring the brain. Rebuilding confidence. And harmonizing with nature. With over 4 decades of changing lives, your self-discovery archaeologist, get ready to be the best of you with your host, Beverly Zeimet.
Welcome to the Beverly Zeimet Show, where being the best you has just gotten easier. My guest today is calling in from Colorado Springs. Her name is Beata Reid. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Hello, Beverly. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited for our conversation. Thank you so much.
Oh.
And your audience, hello, and listen to Beverly because she's awesome.
Oh, thank you for that. I just got chills. That's so nice. So, Beata, you have this beautiful little accent, and I think you told me you came over from Poland, right?
Yes, that's true. So, yeah, I cannot lie. I'm in Springs, but I was born in Poland. So it's funny sometimes when people ask where your accent is from. I said, well, I'm from Texas. because once I was skiing in somewhere in Colorado, and the gentleman said, "Oh, girls, where is your accent from?" And we said Poland, and he said, "Oh, Poland in Texas." I said, "Okay, I'm from Texas."
there actually is a pole in Texas. That's
Yes, so not that Poland, actually Poland in Europe, and I'm here about 9 years already. Last year I became an American citizen, so woohoo! I just celebrated.
Nice. Well, welcome to our wonderful country. It's kind of messed up like the rest of the world, but hey, we're all having a good time, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's all about about your perception, yes?
Right. It really is. It really is. I'm going to tell you a story about Texas.
Tell me.
In the 80s, I had my own business in Denver, and I was actually selling sandpaper to body shops, and a whole lot more. But I was in the automotive industry, and I had trucks on the road, and you opened up the back end, we had a big store, so we were called wagon jobbers. Well, back in the 70s, we were the only women out there because it was a man's world at that time here, but we conquered it. But anyways, there's a lot of snow. Of course, you're going to see in Colorado Springs as well. So, and it gets icy, and so people come up from Texas to go skiing because we have some of the best skiing in the world, right? And crazy drivers up here no matter what. But it seemed like every time there was a wreck, or they said there was a pile up here, or something was going on, it's like, they must be from Texas. Oh my God, because they don't know how to drive on the ice or anything, right? So we would always say, oh, must have been from Texas, right? Oh gosh, that was crazy. That's
so funny. Oh my gosh.
So that's my little Texas fun, and so some things you just kind of remember, right? Like that. So
yeah. So we both have story about Texas.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I've been accused of having a Texas accent too, and it's like, oh no, it's not Texas. I might be from the Midwest, but it's not Texas. Okay, So I actually grew up in Iowa on a farm. Yeah, and I had 10 siblings.
Oh my goodness!
I know, and that was a long time ago.
I'm the youngest of 4, so.
Okay.
Yeah, it was crowded sometimes, but 10 is probably more fun.
Well, we always had a good time. It's like, it's what you're used to. It's what you grow up in. It's just the norm, right? You don't know any different, and that's just the way it is. And it's kind of like, I think it's kind of like what's going on in the world today, right? Our so-called norm all of a sudden wasn't normal anymore. And now, because it's been, 2 to 3 months in some places, it's become the new norm. It's like, what do we do now? Type of thing. So it's like that shift starts happening, right?
Absolutely. And I have a story about the norm. In 2018, in January, I was speaking for Women's Economic Forum in India, and it was my first time in India. And so this gentleman picked me up, the hotel taxi or whatever, late at night. And I was so tired, and we are driving. And oh my God, if you want to see crazy driving people, go to India. There's no red lines. It's so I was on the back, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna like we're gonna be like, in accident. I will die probably. I don't know. And after a week, I was sleeping in the back because it was the norm for them. The chaos that I've seen, it
Right.
was the norm for them. Like boom, here, there. I was like, okay, I trust you because it's just the norm for them. And
Right.
I learned to trust them and adjust to this new norm. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's all
You
about
you said something here that just kind of triggered something in me, you know, the norm, right? And going in and out, right? It's like when you look at what you just described is this driving, right? It it's kind of like your life. It's kind of like dealing with emotions and shifting and changes in your life. And you work in transformation, right? you know
right.
so it just kind of triggered that. It's just kind of always amazes me the words that we use and how they filter into what we do as a business, and how it intertwines and how we recognize things that actually coincide with what we do.
Absolutely. And my life is probably as this driving in India. Seriously, since I was a little, I was born, as you know, in Poland, and it was a communist time. So again, for the whole world was like progressing, and we were stuck in this little world. But I didn't know. Like I didn't know it was the
Right.
norm for me. And then the whole transformation and well at I don't know if I can say a little bit about my story here.
No, tell your
When I
story. That's great.
Yeah, so when I was 7 year old, so I was this outgoing, very interested in world what because there was always this wall. So I said, what is out of these walls? Like there must be something cool. And I knew from the little child that I want to see the world. So I was 7 years old. It was first grade for me, and I just started my first a couple probably weeks in uh, as a first grader. And then when my father picked me up from the school, we got in the car accident. I unfortunately it was not good for me. I had got brain injury, long time in the hospital, and all these dreams. Actually, I mean, I was not aware. Yes, still I'm a
Right.
little child, so it's just change. Something happened, but I'm still okay. So finally, when I was aware and woke up after a long time, not knowing what happened, and I overheard the conversation between my mom and the doctor. And the doctor said that I'm sorry, ma'am, but your child probably will never be like the other kids. She won't be able to do the same stuff. So to make the whole story short, all I heard was that I never will be enough for others
Right.
and to have this life that I was dreaming about behind the walls. So I put the walls, the invisible walls,
Right.
in front of me because I thought it was authority for me. Doctor, my mom was crying, of course. So, and again, then I forgot about that because I was a kid and I was pushing and I just wanted to live my life. But every time when there was another small change entering my life, this little voice was like, you can't be like the other people anymore. You are not enough. So often I just pull back and, it depends what change was. But I was like, yes. it's not.
Right.
Yeah, I probably can't. So I lost so many opportunities because I listened to this inner
That,
voice and what
yeah.
I accepted as a norm for me. That of course I overcome that, but it was for a long time a huge burden for me. So that's why this transformation and changes is like, okay, just come to me.
Exactly.
I'm ready. I was
That's
praying
right.
for it.
Bring it on, right? Just bring
Yeah,
it
bring it
on.
on. Yeah, but it took me a while
Yeah.
to get where I am today.
Well, and you have to look at, everything is in the timing. I'm a firm believer that when the time is right, things will happen and change will be. Because had you done things prior to that, you may not be here today creating those major transformations and helping so many as well. And I can look back at my story and how things shifted as well. And transformation is a big part of my life. And I think it should be a big part of everybody's life because it's change. And when you talk to people, people don't like change. They are
Nope.
scared of change, right? I mean, just unbelievable. And when you look at what's going on in the world today, there's some major changes that happen so instantaneous where you didn't get a chance to say should I or shouldn't I or do I or don't I. It was like you do it or else, right? And everybody's like, what's going on? I mean, it happened so fast, that there wasn't even thought. It
Right.
was just boom, everything's in lockdown, and all of a sudden you woke up one morning and you're like, what the heck just happened to the world, right?
That
So
is so true.
yeah, so when you talk about transformation, that was transformation at its worst, not its finest, at its worst.
I coach my clients. I mostly work with women, and I help them, empower them through change and transition. Because I believe what I experienced, the change is an event. Like, okay, we woke
Yes.
up, like you said, one day, this COVID happened, and everything changed for us. But the transition that we have to go through, I believe it's our inner work, and it's this
Oh my gosh.
adjustment.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
what I work with my clients on, and again, because of my own experience. And now, what a great time to actually do this inner work, do this transition,
Yes.
because we have no power over what happened. We have no power over that COVID entered, but we can depends on our perception how we're gonna look at the things. Yeah,
Right.
who said that? That it's Dr. Dyer. That depends how you look on the things change for you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Ooh, I just got chills on that. Wayne Dyer he was like a mentor to me, right? Every
Love
time
him.
every time he had a new book, that came out, I'd get it and
Yeah.
I'd read it and it's like, dang, I should have wrote that book because he's just like talking to me. It's like, this is the way I'm living my life. This is everything the same. I think my favorite book of his was A Spiritual Solution to Every Problem. I love that book. I listened to it on audio. I've read it so many times, but it just is really special to my heart because that's just the way I live. That was my life. That's what I taught. My workshops, everything just kind of ring true with everything that he did. So growing up right alongside of what he was doing, because I was in the market right at the same time when I started, it was just amazing. Just amazing to be able to get that great confirmation. And I think confirmation is something that we all need, with that recognition and stuff like that. So that transformation is so key when you can understand that change is going to happen with or without you,
Yeah.
right? With or
Right.
without you. Yeah. So are you going with
I
it? Are you going to go
also
against it?
right. I also like to say, because it's true, change is gonna happen with your permission or without.
That's
So
right.
we just need to adjust and
Yeah.
adopt and do the work, because the change is I hope that you agree with me. It's a great opportunity when we experience change to look deeper and actually stop ourselves for a second. It's like, is it what I really want? Because the chance usually in human life is
Right.
not wanted. So something what is happening, I don't want it. I want my old life, yes. And then like stop yourself for a second. It's like, is it really? Because when you were at work, like let's see the COVID, yeah. When you were at work, you were most of us like, oh, I wish to have like a year off, and your
Yeah.
wish came
Yeah,
true. So
that's
and now
right.
you're complaining that you don't want it. I want to go back to work.
Yeah.
So yes, it depends on the situation. We change our perception as
Yes.
well. So stop for a second and say, okay, it's what is going on. This is my present. What I want to take from what I have
Right.
now into the future, and what actually I really do not feel like it's serving me anymore. This is a great time for
Yeah,
work
and
on ourselves.
it is a great time to work on the self, And again, it goes back to the saying, be careful what you ask for, you just might get it, right?
That's so
and,
true.
and sometimes, again, when you focus, if you focus on the things that you don't want, they're in your face. That's what is going to become that vibrational match. And so you're always going to get what you don't want because that's what you're focusing on. So again, let's go in that transformation word, right? And let's start
Right?
focusing on the things that we want so that it can become that
Absolutely.
vibrational match, right? Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. And
Yeah.
I love the saying, it was in one of the books, what you focus on grows. And
Yes.
it's like a mantra for me because most of the time before with my old mindset and old beliefs and wiring, I was focusing on myself as a victim. So I see myself as a victim. Even when
Right.
I came to US and I had all these beautiful opportunities, I was focusing on my accent, that I don't like it. That probably because of that people don't like me, and that's why I don't have job that it was all the stories, the
Yeah.
BS stories. I'm saying BS as a belief system
Right.
stories that were not even true. And so for everyone who's listening, what stories are you telling yourself today?
Exactly. What is all that brain chatter going on up here, right?
Exactly.
Because that can get you in some serious trouble. It's good to listen to the self, but know what it is you're listening to. And I tell my clients as well. Okay, so when you're starting all this brain chatter, instead of hearing, just listening to your thoughts, start speaking what that chatter is. Because when you hear a thought, it is nowhere near what it is and what you believe it is when you start speaking that thought. You just,
Absolutely. And
yeah,
what I do with my clients actually, and what I do with myself, I use journaling for that because most of us, we are visual. And when you put this thought on a paper or
right?
on your laptop, on your notes, wherever, you can finally see it because, yeah, we are thinking like million thoughts in a second. So it's hard to catch the whole thing. And when you write it, it's like, oh my gosh, is it really true? Like, what am I saying to myself? Yes. So,
Yes.
and sometimes you wouldn't even say it to your best friend, and you live with yourself for 24/7, and you're talking this really like limiting stuff to yourself.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. When you start really paying attention to what those thoughts
right.
are, like you said, if you write them down and then you're reading them back, right? Read them back out loud. Sometimes it's even more funnier. I mean, you'll get the greatest laugh of your life. And when you
Sometimes yes,
when you can
and sometimes
sometimes not so
you're just
much
like,
is like,
what?
yeah, it's like, oh my god, no wonder,
Really?
but it gives you an opportunity to really start to shed some light on who the real self is. And one of the things that started my journey was identity. I had lost my identity, and I think a lot of people have that identity
I bet.
crisis, right?
Yep.
Because it's all by association, right?
Right.
Where your identity was through association from that belief that started when you were 7 after that accident, right?
Right.
You know, so that was part of who you became. So all of these things, when you were just being you and getting out there going to do and do and do, and then all of a sudden, that voice says, who the
Yes.
heck do you think you are? Don't you remember what the
Exactly.
doctor said?
Exactly. It was like all
Yeah.
the recording, you know, in my head.
Yeah. Yeah, and it becomes a belief structure, right? And you talk about the wiring, you know, and the rewiring that goes on. As time went on and all the changes and things that I went through my life with and clearing things up, when I started in 1974, there was none of this stuff. There was no spiritual books out there. There was no self-help anything. The only thing that was available back in the 70s was you went and saw a shrink. He either stuck you in the nut house or he gave you a pill.
Right.
And that's exactly how it was spoken. Right? You know,
Wow.
so
Yeah.
it's like, oh my gosh, you know, you talk about stigmas, but I had intuition all my life. I didn't know that's what it was because I thought everybody was that way. Again, you talk about the norm, right? But when I started to release all my angers out loud, you know, just giving God a piece of my mind, so to speak, and it got pretty nasty, I have to admit. But I heard all of this stuff, you know, and then I started really paying attention to the voices that I heard, you know, well, because I was going to commit suicide, right? I was done. I was done. I was not living the life that I had dreamed I was going to live as a child, right? Kind of like what you were doing. Well, I was taking it to this extreme. I was married. I had sex 3 times. I had 3 kids. It's like I'm not following in my mother's footsteps, you know. I'm not, this marriage is a dead end. There's no love here, you know. Oh my God, all of this stuff, right? And it's like, I'm out of here. But the voice said, who's going to take care of your children? Oh my God. And I remember my dad saying, if you're going to have these kids, you better make sure you're going to take care of them because your mother and I are not. We got enough of our own. It's like, oh crap, that means I got to stick around for a long time. They're all under the age of 5. What the heck, you know? And so you start shifting things, right? And that's when I started really listening to that inner working, you know, as time went by, you know, I started understanding that it wasn't God who I was, you know, yelling at. It was my higher self. It was me that had all this anger towards myself. You know, so it's not always pretty when you're going through transformation.
It's
But
not.
Yeah. So I created over the years a little system called the rah-rah system, which is first off, you recognize you got an issue. Whether you speak it or think it or write it down, we got a problem, Houston. All right? Do we want to make a change? Because you know what? We keep doing the same thing over and over. We're going to keep getting the same thing over and over and over, right? So you've got to recognize that that's an issue and you want to change it. But you got to acknowledge that as your truth because it has gotten so instilled inside of your cell memory, right? So now it becomes that personality trait. It's a habit that just continues to go on autopilot no matter what. So when you can recognize it and acknowledge it as being your truth, it's a false truth because a lot of people say, well, I don't believe that anymore. It's like they get on the defense. I'm sure you probably heard that, right? But you did when you created it. Just like you created that at 7 years old, that was your truth then. It followed you as your truth. But when you said, okay, that was my truth. Okay, I get it. But now it's not anymore. What can I do to change it? So that subconscious is where it's stored. So it's like you tell the subconscious, you're right. So all this brain chatter that's going on, you say, you're right. And it stops. It really does. It begins to stop because now there's no conflict. When you're not fueling the fire, when you're not fighting the battle, there's no war. And that gives you the opportunity then to eliminate it, to surrender, to let go of all of that stuff that doesn't serve purpose. So you're having the subconscious say, you know, it's like, remember way back when I was 7, I gave you this candy bar, right? And you're supposed to save it, right? And tell me, every time something comes up that, hey, remember the candy bar? Right? Well, guess what? We're going to get rid of this candy bar because we have a new one. It's bigger. It's better. Oh my gosh, they're so much better. Oh, the subconscious says, okay, throws out the old candy bar. You put in the new stuff. You replace that old truth with what your new truth is. That's the rewiring. And then you accept that as your truth, right? And it's a fast little system, and it works every single time. And you can do it within 30 to 60 seconds. How cool is that?
Absolutely. I love that. And I use similar stuff, but I call it first awareness. Become aware.
There you go.
Where
Aware is recognized. Yeah.
And how did you get here?
Yeah.
Like why I'm here. And then get clear. Okay, if you don't like what you have, where you want to go, and then have the courage to take actions on your whatever dream you just
make
said.
the change, right? Make that that nasty word change.
And there is no action without change. If you like you said,
right.
If you do the same thing the old ways, you are gonna get what you are always getting.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So if you want something new, you got to do something different.
Right. Yes. You said it beautifully. And I also want to comment on you just said. Basically, in like one sentence, is own your story with all the ups and all your downs. Because when I got to the point where I realized, okay, all my decisions in my life, they were not always perfect, but it's what makes me today. Yes, it's how I got here. And I think when you own your story with whatever happened, you accept it because you said you have to accept what is, and then you can move on.
It's not going to change because it's already done.
Yes, and it's part of the transformation. Yeah, owning what your stories, and then you might realize that not all, but most of these stories are not even yours. My 7-year-old story even wasn't mine, and I was living it. Yeah.
I know, that's the craziest part about it. It's like in all thought's magnetic, right? So all thought is magnetic. So what happens is you tell your story, and somebody else is listening, or somebody is spilling their guts to you, sob story, blah blah blah, and you're being sympathetic with them because you can feel their pain. So now you take on that because it's magnetic. So now you're taking that on as your own. Oh, I understand. Oh, I get it. Oh my gosh, I feel your pain because, I know what it feels like to get rejected. I know what it feels like to do that. So that little bit that you had, this little molehill that you had, becomes this massive mountain because you've taken everybody else's stuff on as your own. And then you're trying to get rid of it and thinking you're going to find that needle in the haystack. Not going to happen. Not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
Not in this lifetime. Don't waste your time and effort on it. Just recognize it, acknowledge it as your truth. Who gives a rat's, right? Yes. Get over the war, surrender it, get it out of there, put in a new candy bar, and start living life.
Right. And it's the most beautiful part of transformation is that you become like Beverly. You see her energy. She's like, oh my God, life is so cool. Yeah. And we all want it.
Yeah.
So don't wait. Like as far as waiting, you said about Wayne Dyer, your books, and I remember when he was still here, I was like, one day I'm gonna go to one of his live workshops.
Right.
I was waiting too long, and opportunities changes, so I did not get that chance. So don't wait with your dreams. Go
for it. And if it's really something that you really, really want, then go for it because it's worth it. It's worth it. Don't second guess yourself, right?
I love what you just said because I use it with my clients. You said what you really, really want, or you said wanted, but I always ask my clients, what do you really, really want? Because first really is usually for someone else, for my kids, for my
Yep, yep,
family,
yep,
for my bosses,
yep.
or maybe from childhood that is not really important right now. And the second really is for you. What Beata wants, what Beverly really wants. And, dive deep and feel it and follow with action. It's the
Right.
change that is gonna surprise you
Yeah.
positively.
That's beautiful. I've never heard it said like that before. That is so beautiful. So the first really is, like you said, for everyone else. The second really is, I'm doing
Yeah,
this for me. And a lot of people say, well, I don't want to be selfish. You know what? That's why they call it the self, right?
right.
Whoever put this ish on it. Have you heard people just talk, they say, well, yeah, it'll be around such and such a time ish. What is this ish stuff,
Right.
So it's
You
like,
know, I teach my ladies, selfish is self-care. If you don't
yes,
take care of yourself, you
who's good?
cannot help anyone else.
Anyone else?
Because, like, remember you said that you become anxious, nervous, short-tempered, and you're just not yourself anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, the anger that I held inside of
Yeah.
myself, and growing up, back in the 50s and the 60s, and I spent 12 years in parochial school, so I'm 70, okay? So I've had a long life, right? And it was different back then. I mean, really, really different than city living and whatever, but it's what you knew, it's what you knew.
Right?
And so when something happened and you got upset or whatever, you had your 30 seconds and that was it. So if something happened, you got hurt, you cried or whatever, you got a little bit angry, you had 30 seconds, done, right? Well, it takes more than 30 seconds, right? And so you just kind of build it up, you just swallow it,
Yeah.
and but that's the way it was. And by the time I was 24, all of this anger and rage that I had inside of me, because I turned it all into myself, and that's usually what happens, too. And when I share with people things about, themselves and the changes and things that are happening, and why it's important to take care of the self, as you mentioned, right? It's self-care, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of someone else. And how many times have you asked one of your clients, that, let's just say they have kids, right? And you say,
Yeah.
what percent do you love your kids, right? Oh my gosh, I love my kids more than I love myself. Oh, really? How much do you love
Right.
yourself? Yeah, on a good day, maybe 70%. Okay. And how much do you love your kids?
Yeah.
And they say,
Right.
oh, to the moon and back or whatever. I love myself, my kids just, it's like, really? Let me ask you something. You got $1,000? I need $1,000. Can you give me $1,000, right? I don't have that kind of money on me. Well, how much you got? Oh, God. I probably have maybe $700 laying around in cash. Okay. But I want 1,000. Well, I don't have it, right? It's like, okay, so you're telling me you have 70%, which is $700 worth of love,
Right.
and you're gonna give $100, $1,000 worth of
Right.
love, 100% plus more. You
Yeah.
can't give any more to anyone else than what you give to yourself. So if your cup ain't full at 100%, you're not gonna give anyone else 100%, right?
Absolutely. Amen. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great
Analogy.
example.
Yeah.
Analogy. Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot that word.
I know.
Remember, I'm not from here. And my
I'm not
accent
going
is
to take that as
better.
an excuse. Nope, no more.
No more, yeah.
But I love analogies because they're kind of special
Yes.
stories too. It kind of helps get that point across. And
Absolutely.
we talk about knowledge. I mean, we read and read and read, and we listen and we share. So knowledge is priceless. I mean, and now with the internet, all you gotta do is ask Google, or you grab this thing, you say, "Hey Siri," right? And Siri tells you everything, right? And so knowledge is just everywhere you go. You don't have to go to the library and try to find the right book or go get an encyclopedia. And a lot of people don't even know what that is, right? Because they haven't been around it. But knowledge is worthless without action.
Absolutely.
Right? So all the knowledge in the world, if you don't take action, it really doesn't matter. Right?
But also, because, I forgot the analogy word, and to present it in a real life, sometimes we just don't know. We just don't experience something. And, it's not a shame. That's okay. You can find the knowledge. You can ask. You can learn. So don't get stuck if you don't know something, and don't feel ashamed that you don't know.
Right.
You don't know yet.
Yeah. But you don't know what you don't know until you know it. But now that you know it, what are you going to do with it? Right?
What are you going to do? Exactly. Now I have to use analogy all the time.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. When you're talking about that and getting that information and stuff, right, is where do you go from here with it? And sometimes, you ask yourself all about that. It's like, what am I going to do with it? If I know something different, what am I going to do with it? It's responsibility. And a lot of people fear responsibility. So if I don't know it, I don't have to be responsible for it, right?
And I don't have to change. Yeah?
I don't have to change.
Yeah.
And I can blame it on you. It's all your fault, right?
Right.
And it's like, yeah. How many of you guys out there? Come on, audience. Let's be honest. How many of you play the blame game? Huh? It's somebody else's fault, not mine. Somebody else's, right? It's their fault. Who is there? Who are they, right? My kids would say, yeah, but they, and I say, really, who's they? Oh, they hate that when I would say that. Well, who's they?
Or sometimes people say, life is just not fair. Life is so hard on me.
Yeah.
It's life, yeah?
Yeah, now what are they playing? Now they play the victim. Ooh.
Right. Woo! Know something about that.
I think at one point in our life, we all play that victim role. We all play the blame game, right?
Absolutely.
We're all the same, but
how long you want to stay there. I believe I stayed there too long, and I missed a lot of great people, opportunities. But like you said, the timing is always right. So until I wasn't ready, I was not ready. I had to do the work. But ask yourself, people, please, how long I want to wait? Like, why?
Yeah, what are you waiting for? All you have is now, right? And so many people just live in their past, right? And it's like they dwell on that. They think about it. The couldas, the shouldas, the didn'ts, they don't matter. You want to talk about change? That back there is never going to change. And if you want that future out there to look different than what's back there, you better do something right here. Right?
Absolutely, yeah. And again, why I came to US, actually. I came to US because I was running away from my past in Poland. I was in a relationship for 11 years. We were supposed to get married. And just before my 11 years anniversary, my beautiful man, he texted me that we are not together anymore. So I went into deep depression for a couple of years, and I was living the past all the time, over and over. Right. That the Poland became too small for my parents. Okay, I visited US a couple of times. I'm gonna go there and heal for a year, and it will be beautiful. I came to US, and guess what? Where you are, there you are, with all your pain, with all your BS, with all your beliefs. So I was still unhappy and a victim. Yeah, feeling like a victim. And then I was like, okay, it has to change. But see, I avoided the change because Poland was not enough for me. I have to go somewhere else. How many of you is running away from something that has to change? And
then you turn around and there it is. Like, what the
Exactly.
heck? You can't run. You can't run away from yourself.
No, you can't.
You know, sometimes
Do
a
the
change
work.
of scenery helps the change, but again, you can't run from yourself because
No,
you're always there.
you're always there, 24/7.
24/7. Yeah, yeah. It's crazy some of the things that we do, and again, when you talk about, you know, Poland being too small, you know, and it's like, okay, I got to get away from me. I got to get away from everything, right? You know,
Right.
and so you come back over here and you see where you've been playing the victim, but the victim and the blame goes together, doesn't it? You know,
Absolutely.
so here you are blaming yourself and holding yourself responsible for everything that did or didn't happen in that relationship, and it's like, well, what's wrong with me? Now it goes back to that little 7-year-old that said,
Yes,
oh, that's right, I can't be normal like everybody else.
yes.
I can't I can't I
I
can't
can't have relationships like everyone else. I can't. So you just
Yeah.
reproduce this. I cannot have
That's
a job
right.
like everyone else. I can't. And then it's like, quiet. It's
Just
not
shut up,
true.
head.
Yeah, yes, yes, exactly. I was glad that you said it. Shut up. It's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
like,
you have to ask yourself, what do I believe to be true? What story I'm telling myself? Yes, that.
right.
So we still go to this. Is that even true? Is that even mine? Yes. So the peeling the onions. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and
getting
we
to the
all
core.
we all know when you peel an onion, you know, it creates
Yeah.
tears and, you know,
Well,
stinging and what.
yeah.
But I tell you, it is so worth it, Beata. Isn't it just so
Absolutely.
beautiful when you start that process and that journey? The more you do, the more you want to do, and then, hey, guys, we've both worked on each other. You know, we've worked on ourselves for a long time. That's why we're all happy and fun, having a good time on this show, right?
Right. And oh my gosh, I love your energy, and it's contagious. Yeah. Like you are so happy. I'm happy. And when we all would do the work, oh my gosh, the
Yeah.
change would be just amazing. Yeah.
So
The change
everybody out there listening, let's get together and be happy and just put all that stuff behind us, right? And let's make a happy, peaceful world. Yeah. It's just
Yeah,
that
that is
easy.
awesome. Yeah, it is easy. Everything is basically easy. Just we overthink it and
Oh
and
my goodness.
make difficult. Our mind is making it difficult.
Well, you know, a lot of times too, I think it's true that the reason why we do that, because there's that fear of rejection,
Yes.
not being, you know, fitting in, you know, somebody not liking me, you know, whatever, and so you
Longing.
belonging, and so you kind of fight for that. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Let me tell you this: there's billions of people in the world, billions of people in the world.
Right.
Just because that person sitting right over here doesn't like you, I promise you, there's someone out there that's gonna really
Yes.
like you, right? So don't waste
Absolutely.
your time and effort on something that's never gonna change, because you're never gonna change someone else. The only person you can change is you. And the more you change here, the more your world outside here changes. Your perception of who you are, your identity of who you are starts shining. Everything outside your world here is going to change. And we talked about that magnetic, right? So
Yeah.
when your changes are going on in here, you're going to magnetically attract
Yep.
different things out there. So you can have this happy life, you can have this fun life. There's an overabundance in the world. I mean, we look at some of the things here, you know, when this whole pandemic started, and the scarcity mentality. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. It was worse than the Depression, right?
That's right.
And I know what the Depression was all about because my parents grew up in the Depression. They were kids during that Depression. So I had it firsthand. I watched my parents, I watched my mom especially, you know, with different things. And it's like, oh my goodness, Why are you keeping all of these old containers, right? But that's
Yeah.
what you did, right?
Right.
So again, it's understanding and recognizing where the change and the shift has to happen, right?
Amen.
And
Yes.
transformation starts where, Beata? There you go. That's right. You heard it from her.
In there. Yes, you have to, for transformation, you have to go inside because we transform from the inside out.
Yes. Yes. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. And that's what makes each and every one of us unique as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the word diversity. Diversity is great
Yes.
because it makes everyone unique. I'm not like Beverly. Our souls are similar because we love to live and love share happiness, but I cannot do it in her way, and she cannot do it in my way.
Exactly.
So isn't it beautiful? Oh my God.
I've had people come up to me saying, when I grow up, I want to be just like you, right? And it's like, really? I don't know if the world's ready for more than one of me.
I love that.
I've never grown up. I'm just shy of 5 feet. I mean, like a quarter inch shy of 5 feet, right? And people say, when are you gonna grow up? I said, never, because I have to grow up. That means I got to act like that.
Right.
I choose not to. I'll just stay right here, right? I'll share this story with you. I told you I was 70, right?
Yes.
My physical years on the planet are 70. But my body, my mind, my whole physiology, my belief is 45. And the reason why I chose 45 was my kids were all out of school, and I was living my life. Now it was my turn to do whatever I wanted, because that full responsibility was gone. And my life was just, I had the world by the tail. Everything in life was just perfect for me, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
I'm never going to change being 45.
I love that.
And
Wow.
and so I'm 45, and I believe that with every cell of my body, right? And these are the things that I teach, again too, with the belief system and stuff, because everything is a vibration, right? Everything's a vibration. Now I want you to guys listen out here, and just as you're listening to me talk here, I want you to think about this. Beata, you try this too, right? Think about something that makes you really happy. Really happy. Look at the smile on her face, right? Look at really happy. How is your body feeling? Does your body feel uplifted and light, like you just float right out of this room, right?
Yes, so light. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I want you to think of something very sad, something very depressing that, is just like, why is this? The confusion and just the upset, the anxieties and everything. So do you notice her body language is changing? How does your body feel?
My arms went down, so heavy and
Heavy. That's right.
Yes, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, so bring it back up, okay? There you go. Shoo, and it's that fast. So it takes more work and more energy to stay in that weighted position, that downward spiral, than it does to stay happy and excited and full of fun. So I don't like these words, but we have to use them because we're in this world of duality. We have negative and positive. So we have words that are referred to as negative, and it's not that they're negative, it's they are of heavier descent, right? They're
Right.
more destructive, and weighted down, so they vibrate slower than when you've got the words over here that are called positive, right?
Okay.
And they're fun and
Yeah.
uplifting and everything else, right? Because they vibrate at a higher resonation, okay? So the difference between positive and negative is only a charge. It's just a charge. You have to have both to create a light switch to go on. That light bulb, if it didn't have a positive and a negative charge coming into it, it wouldn't come on.
It would
So
not.
you need that. Your physical body is an electrical current, electromagnetic
Yeah.
current, right? So your left
Yes.
side is known as your negative side, and your positive side is known as, as your right side. Now, when you look at the female side of you and the male side of you, because you're both masculine and feminine, because we are duality, right? So
Yeah.
the left side is the female, and I know what you're all thinking. Oh yeah, she's negative, right? It's like, no, the negative energy is the power. It's the power. Remember that. It's the power.
Right.
The right side, being the positive energy side, is the strength. When you can bring your power and your strength together, you have perfect match of transformation and harmony, right?
And you are unstoppable.
That's right. You become unstoppable. So true. So again, there's the old saying, behind every successful man lies a powerful
Successful.
woman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? You think that was just thrown out there for nothing? No. And why is it men are always trying to overpower women? Because they want the power. If they only realize that, if they get in touch with their feminine side, they have their power. Move out of the ego, right?
Yeah. Right. Right.
Because the ego
That's so
is
true.
edging the good out, right?
Yep.
Right? So
And ego keeps you small. Ego
it
keeps
does.
you small.
Ego keeps you
Yeah.
weighted down,
Right.
right? So that strength, that strength is heavy. Or that power is just woo, implosive,
Yeah.
right? Right? So
Woo!
that's right. So when you understand that and you bring it into balance, because too much of a good thing on either side is not always a good thing. It's about bringing and being in balance and being in harmony, right?
Yeah,
And-
I like harmony. Yeah, harmony
Yeah.
is great because
Yeah.
you feel woo, and you also feel grounded. So
Yeah.
again,
So it just brings you into that peaceful feeling, that knowing, that understanding, that
and I just want to add to that, when you are in this peaceful feeling, you don't react. Yes, so no one can. There's no triggers because you are just
Yep.
okay, all right.
Don't
change.
take it personal. Don't take
Exactly.
it personal.
No, and it won't just, you won't take it personally because you are in harmony. You are peace.
Yes.
You're peaceful in your mind. You are peaceful in your body, and you're like, all right. So you see for what it is instead of going into the story.
Yes, that story, that dreaded story, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They run our lives.
And it does. But when you start to recognize that the parts of the story that are all distorted, that are no longer your truth, when you acknowledge them and to take the power, to take the powerful charge away from that story, is to say you're right. You're right. Then you can let it go and rewire it to what you want.
I love that.
If you don't fight, there's no war. Right?
That is beautiful.
Stop the battle inside yourself. Gosh.
Absolutely.
Beata, if you could leave our audience with one more powerful little thing, what would that be?
From my experience, again, the change is as difficult and as scary as your mind will make it.
Yeah, so don't make it that way.
Nope.
Don't make it scary,
Don't
make it fun, right?
Nope. Make it fun. And you can do it. You can do whatever you want. Just do the work. Transformation is always just around the corner, but you have to reach out for it. You have to take the next step.
Claim
Know
it as
what you
yours.
want.
Claim it
Yes.
as yours. Everybody go out there, be a Nike, right? Because Nike says,
Yes,
just do it, right?
just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah, and look at Beverly. Oh my gosh, she is living her life. Just do it.
Yeah,
70
you know
years
what?
old? No, she is not. She is not. She is not. Her soul is so young, and she's spreading this good vibes. Oh my gosh, thank you for, for what you do. I love you.
Oh, honey, I love you too. And you know what? We're not very far away now, so we are definitely going to be
Yes,
none of this social distancing. We're going to just meet in the middle, and that's it, right?
yes, let's do it. I really hope that we can make it happen.
Well, we're not going to
We
just
will.
talk about it, we're making it happen. There's
All
no other
right.
option. That's another thing I would
There is
say.
no.
There's no other option. This is the only option I got.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love that. Let's stay with it. Make it happen.
There we go. Beata, thank you so much for joining me today. It was an honor sharing the stage with you, and I look forward to having many, many more conversations like this, get you back on the show, and just really
Thank you.
building and collaborating. So you guys, watch out because we're coming to get you.
We're gonna make it happen.
That's right. So go out there, be that best you that you can be today and every day, because Beata and I are going to be the best we that we can be. We'll see you all on the next show.